and he's out of the kindness of his heart give us these wonderful facilities. Somebody come here last week who don't know nothing about whiteboard and whiteboard marker. And go up on the whiteboard with permanent marker and file up the whole of them on board.
Yeah. They're never permanent, but that can come off. It's never permanent, that can come off.
Go there and wipe and see if you can remove it.
These things are never permanent.
But they should have checked it, should have checked it.
You know, just people who, the head, one part of the head gone, one and the other part.
I don't think she realised it though.
Yeah, but
I didn't say it was a she, you know.
Oh.
So now you tell us it's something. So we are narrowing it down now to the public. All the men are absolved.
It wasn't me.
So what we are going to do is we are going to try and see. Last week we gave out these, what they call the agenda, but nobody come back with it. And you have yours, Sharon?
yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Go on the estimates.
Oh, sorry. Where's yours?
Yeah,
Marcia is
I've
the.
got mine,
So,
can share.
Yeah.
yeah.
Welcome to share.
Ma'am, and that's what we agreed last week. May I suggest that we don't go into groups and we just go through finishing off the policy thing and then go to the other one, because the other one must be done tonight. We must finish the agenda tonight. Now, the policy thing then, what we're going to agree is just to get the topics, and then we're going to appoint somebody together with myself or two people, three of us go away and put it into a policy format.
Sorry, I'm late, guys. Just dealing with the Queen's death.
Oh, she has that.
Yeah,
She
which is
That's the
fine.
way.
We just found
has
it.
quite right.
Still
Still saying this.
That's a milestone, that is.
Did that happen within the last hour?
Yeah.
Right? Thanks.
Ben, can I suggest, I'm the least monarchist person here. I'm very much anti-royalist, but I still think out of the fact that we live here, we should probably have a minute of silence.
I think we should.
I agree with you.
Can we do that? A minute of silence?
Yes.
But I'm a great anti-monarchist, even though I'm suggesting that.
You don't have to brandish your credential. I agree with that suggestion,
Yeah.
out of respect.
We live here.
Yeah. Because this is a very significant moment.
It is. It is. Very much.
Yeah.
There are three palaces that run this country, three palaces. St. James's palaces, the Archbishop of Canterbury reside. Every bishop has to sit in the House of Lords. The second, the Palace of Westminster, where the legislature is made, Parliament. And the third palace is Buckingham Palace. Now the most problematic one is Buckingham Palace in terms of the transition from Her Majesty the Queen to who and how the public is going to react. So we are at a very significant moment. Okay, you got a timer, Ricky?
Yeah.
Just a minute silent from now. So, let's go into these, ladies and gentlemen, and when we look at these policy proposals, may I just remind you, I've sent out a note. Did anybody get to read some of the books I've sent out?
Yeah.
Only for them. What the policy that I'm looking at, I get a lot of people coming to me with them. So it's not just us in Birmingham, it's from London and elsewhere. You know, pen and paper? Oh yes, okay. The first one is the creation of an executive agency. Come in. Come in, Miss Zaritu. Hello, my brother.
How are you?
Give me there, man. Fight with that.
Hello. See you?
It's been a while.
I know.
You okay though, yeah?
Yeah. See you.
I'm in a meeting. You're going after, okay?
Did anybody give apologies for Serena?
No.
She's sick, unfortunately.
Oh dear. I've got about 5 apologies, but can I remember?
One is Serena.
Hmm?
One is Serena. I spoke to her today. I think she told Ricky, she told you.
Yes, she told me.
Yeah, you just said.
Maxie Hills, of course.
Maxie Hales, apologies to Maxie, Serena, Manu / Guy, Calvert. It's about 6 people apologize. Can I just ask, please, before you go any further, before you go any, Miss Johnson, before you go any further, please, I'm begging you. Every time I have a meeting, I beg people to write their name, phone number, email. And last week I begged, I said, please make sure that's legible. And this me get.
I'm sure the worst offended me, I'm sorry.
When I went home with it and tried to write down everything, I can't. So I'm begging you to let one person write it down for me. So that, you know, it is clear. Because
I'm sure they can write
Yes,
it.
they
They should
should
just write it in
Yeah,
the
right.
and I know me, and I know, and
Should I
I,
show you my
Your school in Jamaica.
Should I show you my
I'm sure
handwriting?
Beverly is
So you can allow
Jamaican
me
educated.
information? Does that look like very, very good
I
handwriting to
know
you?
that. Well, it's
Thanks.
Jamaica.
It's to do capital. That's
Yeah, they put it in capital.
That's what we do best in the Caribbean.
I know.
Right.
I say that because I know mine is crab to run down gully. That's what mine is.
Might get worse.
Marcia Reed, event organizer from an organization called Vision to Reality. Jennifer McIntosh from
the UGMA partnership.
the UGMA project, partnership, sorry. UGMA, is it written on it in the UGMA
It
partnership?
should be, it should be.
All right. Switch off for the phone, please. Ricky Deaney from Prison Link. Brathwaite. You're not representing an organization, okay? Zaditu Ashua from the Sick Be Nourished project. Businesswoman Extraordinary, Beverly Johnson, Johnson Shipping Company. Phil, you've heard of her? Phil Murphy, African Caribbean
Centre.
Millennium Center, this place. And
No fixable.
Chester Morrison from the, it's getting, you know, honestly, I really must apologize. I'm losing it.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
Am I? And from the Jamaican Diaspora, West-Midlands, and also from, what's the place down at? You with Ernest Cajuns, yeah, and Kimberly from no organization, and then
Are you okay? Oh.
Rupert. No, what's your organization? Mr. Cunningham, Nedley said that you don't run you don't have a name for it.
I resign.
Have you resigned? Shame on you. And then Dr. Chevan Byfield, who ran King Solomon's school, business school. Nearly said King Solomon Mine. A very pioneering woman. So this is a Jamaican thing here. So last week we decided to have the conference arranged in the meeting arranged in 3 sessions at the Legacy Center on the 8th of Saturday, the 8th of October 2010. The first session is going to be dealing with policy proposal that will come from us, what we are asking them to do. And I won't go over to explaining what policy is, but when you talk about policy, you're talking about something that is permanent. The second session is a public meeting where the public come and they make presentation about it. The third session is a little entertainment thing. Then we had another program, was the other agenda item was how to carry out some functional activity. And we're going to meet into 2 groups. But the group so far has agreed that we just have 1 group. And what we're going to look at is some policy initiatives. Just about 5 of them. Bear in mind, I'll be collecting policy from elsewhere in the country. I began by saying one of the policies that we need in Jamaica, from day 1 with the diaspora, a department in Jamaica was set up in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs called the Department for Diaspora Affairs. You're aware of it down there. But it has never really worked. So when we have issues and problems that we're supposed to refer to Jamaica, it never really gets there. I say this and finish on this. Just to give an example, in 2004, one of the ministers in Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent to us, America and Canada, and said, begin to send down the issues that you don't need us to deal with. Begin to send it down. And a group of about 50 people met down at Wilson Road in Birmingham and sat down and discussed an action, a policy that they'd like the government to do. A shipping company came to Derek Douglas and myself and arranged a meeting. We meet them on a Saturday morning. And what they are saying is they have clients that are sending barrels to Jamaica. And when it reached Jamaica, they priced all the items in the barrel. Shirt, sometimes people's shirt, or a suit or a funeral dress, it was priced. People would be paying these custom charges so that in the end, what they paid as charges was more expensive than the whole barrel itself.
How long ago was that?
2004.
A lot has changed since.
Let me tell you what. I don't mind taking on the money, but it seemed from our position so unfair. So we wrote to the government in Jamaica asking them to address this and to make a policy to stop this problem. It got to the table of Mr. Bruce Golding, Prime Minister Bruce Golding, and I was told when he read it, he said, "This a go on?" And he called the head of custom for a meeting, and he said, "No man, people are dependent on this thing, you cannot cut off this life support that is good." And a policy was introduced that from 2005, there would be a one charge of $3,000 for each barrel. That's the kind of thing where the diaspora is looking at. What are the problems we have that can be solved in Jamaica? Today, barrel from Canada, America, the UK, 3,000. I think it's gone up to 5 now. That's the kind of thing we want to do. But it's policy. Nobody can change it because it's policy. And that's what we're going to do. Can anybody, 5 minutes, can anybody come up with anything that they think should be a policy? My sister?
Just on this one, Ben, just on this one, the limited experience I have, and I don't send very many things to Jamaica as such, I tend to, if I've got something to take, I take it with me. The very, very limited experience I've got of sending something to Jamaica is that it is absolutely excessive, and almost everything under the sun is found to tax the thing on. So it's just not worth your while sending something to Jamaica. So you might as well send the money to the person, because it's so the taxes they've got to pay in Jamaica is so excessive. That's my own personal experience. It may, I hope it's not universal, but the entire situation needs to be looked at. But I'm talking now about the luxury item. I'm not sure about necessities.
Yeah.
Why are we going back to square one? Last week we had a big list of issues that people felt that could be formed into policy. It's not having those meetings and going brainstorming it and asking people and asking the same question the next week. We must progress and use those that we have listed.
All right. Could you take us through those issues then?
Obviously, anything new can happen.
Have we got them? Yeah.
Sorry?
No, let's go through
That's the
those.
list, yeah.
Oh, this
Because
is here.
we've got to write it down
Okay.
and draft it into a policy.
Okay. So let's move then to looking at some of these issues and how we could formulate policies around some of them. Not all of them will be suitable, but the reality is that last week the meeting felt.
Yeah, and I've heard you, Ricky. Now,
Yeah.
could you take us and tell us which ones you think we could?
Well, I think that's what we should explore
That's
now.
what we're discussing.
Yeah, I think that's what we
Yeah,
should.
but that's what I'm saying. Can you look at that and tell us which ones you think we should go into a policy?
Yeah, and we all need to do that together.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go
If you
for
go-
the
if you go
first
for-
one,
yeah,
so the
that's
first
right.
one then, that's the exchange. Is that the exchange?
The
So we've got that.
students, yeah.
We've got that. Oh no, sorry, that's the exchange for the students, isn't
Yeah.
that?
But that's something's going on with that anyways, and there's
So
I don't
Exchange.
understand you. You're talking about students.
The exchange.
that was the young people.
That was for young
the
people,
exchange
yeah, that's right.
program.
Yeah, I
you know,
think
we're talking about the exchange program.
Yeah, but you're saying student. Is it student you're talking about?
Well, we said about a certain age group.
Yeah, I think what was said
Student age group.
is that the exchange should be both ways. It should be exchange of young people going to Jamaica and people from Jamaica coming to England as well.
And there was, if I can say, sorry, Ricky, there was also a very practical proposal from a brother who I'm getting like he did, I'm getting old.
Let's do one at a time. Is it?
No, I'm talking placement. He specifically said that his organisation, the Burden and Soy Hill, mental health organisation was well in advance in terms of a placement scheme, and he thought it was a good idea. Obviously, they're doing it very professionally. So I think it met with the universal agreement that we should do that kind of.
Well, he's withdrawn because he said that's not what he had in mind. He didn't have the exchange in mind.
Well, placement certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just pick one very quickly?
Yeah.
I think there is a model in the United Kingdom that would be beautifully transferred to Jamaica, and that's the item for the aged in Jamaica.
What's it called?
You have their agents in Jamaica for old. I'm just
The executive agency, yeah.
for the old, but I think what
Not for, I don't know what for the old. For the old.
Is that another one? Which point?
What's that at the end?
That's considered unusual age brackets.
Agency in Jamaica for, that's what?
No, that's exchange, consider unusual age brackets. So I'm assuming
agents in Jamaica for.
Agency in Jamaica for,
Is the old, is that for?
I don't know what is that at the end.
That's DD.
Oh, what's ED? What does that
What?
mean?
Well, what was being proposed, Beverly, was an executive agency.
Agents in Jamaica.
Yeah.
For
So-
Jamaican Diaspora.
Yeah. Is it
That's
JD?
Is
JD.
that
Oh,
JD?
right.
Agency in Jamaica for the Jamaican Diaspora. Oh, was that when was talking about the ones who want to go back?
Yeah,
Back
for
home,
the returnees.
And then, you know. so
No, that's not what. It's for people who have problems in England, but who do you refer your problems to? You need an executive agency
That's right, to
that
support.
looks at diaspora affairs.
Ben, there was a strong suggestion of
Ben,
sorry.
Sorry, can I just get clarification? Because my understanding last week was the objective was to look at barriers to Jamaicans returning to Jamaica.
Yeah.
To
That
form
was,
an agency to help them through that
So,
process. Yeah.
yeah, so I think anything that we choose needs to feed into that.
Yes.
There's a lot of things there, they're all good, but it doesn't feed into that overall
Sarah,
objective.
the agency will cover advocacy, returnees, it will cover all the issues and problems.
One specific.
I don't think you can use that.
No, I'm going to see if I can get a dry board marker because we need some visuals.
Yeah.
If we can get it up on there, then we can see it.
Yeah.
There was one specific example that the law was very complicated for people returning to Jamaica. We
Is that
need
one
that needed to be explained, clarified for people. Definitely.
May I-
around property and those issues.
May I say something? Can I ask this group if we can appoint 2 or 3 people to begin to deal, because I don't think we can do it with just a big group.
Well, this is what we brought, this is why we had a smaller working group to deal with this, you see.
Right.
This is supposed to be the working group.
No,
now.
that was the biggest group.
Yeah, from last week.
Yeah.
This is the working group.
No. This is the group looking at 2 issues. The practical thing or
All
something.
right, and this
And so what I'm saying is, when I look at what is involved in the discussion that's needed, I think if we have 2 or 3 people that sit down and begin to fine-tune those things, those suggestions, because it has to be drafted and sent to Jamaica. They're waiting on it. So that when they come up, they don't come up cold. They've got these proposals in front of them.
Ben, what I think this group could do though is to prioritize those issues. For example, the issue of tackling violence and security
Yeah.
was overwhelmingly most important to most people in this
Definitely,
meeting.
yeah.
And the other things were important, but the tackling violence and people being secure, that was overwhelmingly important.
Right.
And I would suggest that as a group, we should choose that as one of the major policy areas.
So what is the proposal?
Well, the policy proposals of the government in Jamaica should find means of ensuring that when people return, they can be secure. All that is done is clear. I've spoken to relatives of mine in Jamaica, I've got some ideas. But basically, the policy proposal is that the government should find a way of ensuring that people who return to Jamaica are safe.
That, due respect to it,
Cannot
that's
be.
not a policy
That's
proposal.
not a
That's
policy.
too broad, that's not a policy proposal, that's just a suggestion. You, when we take the barrel, we are saying in the proposal that the barrel should not be charged on an item basis, it must be one charge. You've got to suggest to them what you are prescribing,
So
what
it
is
needs
needed.
to be a bit more precise.
Absolutely.
Well, no,
Can I
you
just
dig down
make a
in
suggestion?
details. I could give you a lot of ideas of what the Jamaican government should do, but the basic idea, what they need to develop is a policy to ensure that people are safe. That's
You
the
have
idea.
to say what that policy is. Yes, you
Can I-
have.
can I-
No,
can I
of
just
course
make a
not.
suggestion?
Hold on,
Not
Philip.
for us
Okay.
to tell the government. I've got ideas, but not for us. We say to them, that's what we want, and they're the government. They're supposed to provide that, not for us to tell them. That's
All right.
nonsense.
Can I intervene on this one?
Well, then you
Right.
raise it as a concern, but it doesn't fall under the policies unless we're doing.
It's just a concern. It's not a
And
policy.
we can't dictate
Just
their
to,
policy around security.
just to have a bit of structure.
Yeah.
There's a few people that wasn't here at the last meeting, and what I would suggest, that list needs to be explained first, and to, because this is the opinions of who was at the meeting
Yeah,
last
we had a
week.
brainstorm, is
Yeah,
it?
we had a brainstorm. So it's probably worth going through that list and then deciding as a group, yeah,
Okay.
which one we can prioritise, and then we can go into the details and
Yeah.
debate and discuss. But for the people that wasn't here last week, it's probably worth explaining, if we can remember, each one, just briefly, and then we can eliminate which one is not relevant
Right.
and focus on the policy.
So what we're looking at is about an hour of this.
No, a couple of minutes, Marcy, if you can, we can just go
Just
through
go through them
about
now.
5 minutes.
In terms of who was here and who remember,
Yeah.
we've already spoken about the exchange, we know what that's
Right, which
about.
is not a point yet.
And
What, talking about the industry?
we've already spoken about the exchange, so we know
That's not a policy, we've explained, yeah.
It's an idea.
It's an
These
idea.
were ideas.
Suggestions, yeah.
Okay, so the
So
exchange.
that's not going through to our policy?
Well, it could be. It depends on whether we decide to. We have to discuss
No,
it.
that's not, I wouldn't class that as a policy.
Well, Ben,
That's-
can I
that's a
ask, with
suggestion.
respect, can someone explain to me what is meant by policy? Because I think that if it's suggested that a policy should be around security and safety, I think that's a policy issue. So
No, I do
explain to me,
agree.
please,
That's
let
a
me say where I'm confused. What's the difference between a policy issue and a concern?
Right.
Can someone explain the difference?
Right.
It's a difference between an aim and an objective.
We know, no, wait a minute, my brother Ricky. A policy. The government of Jamaica in 2003 wants to get an engagement with the diaspora. They are getting complaints from the diaspora that they are not being engaged with. They called a conference in Mona, and it for 1 week, and people sat down and thought what they thought should be the thing. When there was an agreement, the Minister for Diaspora Affairs went to the opposition and got an agreement that a policy will include a Department for Diaspora Affairs, the appointment of a Minister for Diaspora Affairs, a biannual conference. So that was a policy, and it doesn't matter which party is in power governing, that would continue because it becomes a policy.
So it's a bit more prescriptive.
That's right.
So.
Okay, let's do this a different way. Tackling violence. What actions do we feel the government should be taking to resolve the issue of violence in Jamaica?
Right.
Thank you.
We have to go to the root cause. What in the first case creates people to be violent? They're idle. How do we put the idle hands and the idle minds of people to work so they don't choose that the only escape is violence? That's the kind of conversation we need to be having, to point out to the minister to look at best models
Where
in the
does it
world
say,
that has worked.
which one is that?
That
Oh
can
yeah,
tackle
number
tackling
2.
violence.
And that could come under P, that could be one of the policies.
So
So we need to brainstorm
Okay.
So you can brainstorm
what we
that
could do
by saying,
in tackling.
you're living in the United Kingdom, you've seen great regenerations that take place. If you look at the 4 constituents in Jamaica, as I'm a fresh Jamaican whose bed is still there, it is headed up by the 4 top parliamentarian, member of parliament in Jamaica. Montego Bay is a crime area. That is the member of parliament for that is the deputy prime minister. So that needs regeneration. We need to shift. We need to hit down the zinc fences. We need to make street for policing and all of that. The prime minister's constituency is another volatile constituency. The minister of entertainment and youth, her constituency is also another volatile. So we are needing urgently to address why are these constituents like this? What is the business people doing? If you think of all the businesses in these constituents, if the stakeholders were participating in regeneration and youth integration, then you won't see the kind of violence. You have idle hands, idle minds, you're going to get the kind of violence you see in Jamaica. And there are too many idle hands in Jamaica.
I think probably one of the biggest policies that could be put in place when it comes to violence is the banning of guns in Jamaica. And I'm not saying that could be achieved, but that is the sort of policy I think we're looking
You can't ban guns in Jamaica.
Well,
They did in Singapore, they did in China, they did in Cuba. You're not allowed to own a gun in any of these countries.
Or it better still revise the policy.
Or it could be a policy that says non-military persons should not carry guns. Should not carry guns.
I will say this to you with
That's
no
a policy.
apologies. Some of the incidents of crime and violence in our communities are being done by the very same people who have been legally authorized to carry those weapons.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
The last
let's just be
report,
very clear.
the last report I read, Bev, it said 78% of all known criminals are licensed gun
Thank you
owners.
very much.
So
So
therefore
we
the
have
policy-
to reform.
Yeah, the policy
No
needs
reform.
the policy needs to link to the ownership of guns,
That is correct.
because that's the big thing in Jamaica, isn't it?
Or to be more specific, Ricky, to that, what is it that enables you to have a gun, licensed gun?
With respect, Ben, I think we.
Hold on,
what
Philip,
what
please.
Beverly is saying is absolutely
Yes,
sensible.
I agree.
But hold on, but I just want to say.
No,
I think
Philip,
we're
please.
mistaking
I am asking a
operational.
question. You have an act of parliament called the Gun Licensing Act that allows you to have a gun. And you have an agency attached to that act called the Gun Licensing Authority. If the government sit down one day and rescind that act, gun licensing and gun ownership is banned overnight.
Ben, I think we're mistaking operational matters with respect with policy matters, if I might say so. For example, banning, rescinding the law which allows people to have a gun. I think that's an operational matter in some ways. And what Beverly was talking about, making sure that the areas where there's crime, there's a lot of police, and the use of drones, whatever. All of these, in my view, are operational matters. But the policy would be, and if I might repeat, one of saying we want the people coming back to Jamaica to be safe and not killed.
Every Jamaican needs to be safe, not
No,
just
we're talking about the diaspora now. I agree with you
define-
completely. What I'm saying, what we want is something which tackles that wide issue. Hold on, the other things Sister Beverly is talking about, these are operational things which we can say, but the policy must be to protect
Yeah,
people.
but can you see that policy needs to be measurable? It needs to be
Absolutely.
quantifiable. It needs to be smart. You need to be able to say, have you achieved it? By what you're saying, it's a bit nebulous, really. It's good, it's what we want, but policies need to be measurable and quantifiable. So they need to be like...
That's for the Jamaican government and the police.
No, but that's what we're trying to do with it.
We can't tell
It needs to be a bit
the
like an objective. So by the end of 2000, whatever it is, this has happened. So
And
that we know it's happened.
I make one more appeal. One
Can
more.
I just make one point quickly before?
Okay.
If we consider that any proposed policies we're taking to the Jamaica government is a group of actions adopted or proposed for a course of change, then all of what we've just talked about, if you go back to the years of Michael Manley, when we had the gun amnesty, when the gun court was in effect, when persons were asked over a 90-day period to turn in illegal guns, and right after that, anybody who was caught in the street with an illegal gun automatically went into the gun court system. the process of the judiciary system wasn't a long one. Once you weren't in hand with a permit to have that weapon,
Right.
you would have been sent in. We need to sometimes go back to the things of old that worked then.
But that sounds like policy to me.
That's what I'm saying. So you can look at a number
That sounds like
of
policy.
It's got to be
actions.
measurable though.
Yeah,
What-
but that sounds like policy to me.
My sister, what people are saying is problem is not only illegal gun. A policeman came to me and begged me for money
I
to
know
get
that.
his license. And I gave him the money to get his license. And he said to me, don't forget you're not cunning. Whenever you need it, you can come borrow it. Policemen hire out their
Policemen are
guns.
the biggest hirers of weapons.
This 75%, 78%. So when illegal gun people have said, why would you want a licensed firearm?
If you can get a policeman to
But
open
Ben,
the
the
door.
policy would be, isn't it, that it must be very, very difficult to obtain. What we could say, we want a policy of making it very, very difficult to obtain a gun in Jamaica. Guns could only be available in the most exceptional circumstances. That's a policy.
Such as?
It's probably looking at.
Such as?
It's probably
Such as
looking
what?
at the policy.
Exceptional circumstances. Give me
Well,
a,
I'm not here to solve her problem.
Yeah,
The
this is a
people
free-
in Jamaica should know
free,
that
in this country, there's an incident. The policeman go to the station, they open the lockup, they get the gun, and they go out there, and they go in the van, and they go to the place, and they shoot up and shot down who shot down, and they come back and put the gun in. Policemen do not own guns.
Very true.
Right, so that could be part of the policy, couldn't it?
That's part of the policy.
Own-
For them
ownership.
not to hold.
You ban gun ownership.
Yeah, ownership. So the police have access to guns, but not ownership.
So what's
But before you,
so-
before you
you know-
can take a policeman's weapon from him in Jamaica, you must bring in the illegal guns.
Absolutely.
Because the very perpetrators who are performing the illegal acts, they do have issues with some police officers. And if they're aware that the officers are going home unarmed, they will go for them as ducks in a pond.
Right.
So that is
So
another
you know the
And-
policy in America in terms of guns, because we know that, you know, the license
Everybody
is
should be armed.
right, but it's not,
And they killing one
are
another.
they more stricter than Jamaica?
No.
Are they the same?
America, you've got a right to own a gun.
Every
It's a second
American
amendment.
So in Jamaica,
Most states.
you haven't got a
In,
right
in,
to
in
have-
England now,
I know in
the,
Jamaica.
the police don't own guns, but they've got access to guns.
But yeah, that's
and
right.
that could be a
But,
policy.
yeah, the question I'm asking, you know, in Jamaica, can they just get a license for a gun?
No, no.
Yes,
All
you
right.
You
can.
have to go to you have to
You
go to
can
the
get a
firearms.
license.
You have to go to the firearms license authority and you have to have a specific reason. For instance,
Oh, right,
as a
okay.
business owner
Right.
who operates in a volatile community, I could apply to the FLA
All
for
right.
a firearm
Okay.
to protect my interests.
Right.
But the problem with firearm licenses in Jamaica, which you've seen a number of politicians have actually lost their portfolio, is because the politicians themselves approve firearms for their friends and companies. So the corruption is at its highest level. So all of what we're sitting and talking about,
That needs to be zero.
it needs to be zeroed in
Yeah.
on. So if you want a policy that is crucial to the needs of Jamaica, is to how do we expose the corruption that prevails in government, in businesses, and in communities.
By removing the right to ownership.
Ownership.
The corruption doesn't work
And
if
then
there's no
connected to
license.
that, there must be, I mean, I'm not one for great purity, but there's no way, and I think what Manley and others are doing is important. There's got to be a policy which says, if after amnesty or whatever you're found with a gun,
Yeah,
the
that
most,
works.
the most severest penalty will be
That has
inflicted.
worked. That's
That's
worked
that's
in
the policy.
70s and
We want a
80s.
policy of
That works.
zero
To be very
tolerance, if
zero
you like,
tolerance to be
towards
strict.
gun, illegal gun ownership.
Absolutely.
That
And
works.
zero tolerance start with removing the law that enables you to have a gun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Well,
that's a good start for a
yeah.
policy.
We say enables a lot to remove. If you can own a gun, a gun for legal reasons,
Yes,
that should be
the
fine.
court is there.
It's the ones who's got a gun for other reasons. So if you're legally entitled to have a gun, that's fine.
So
It's
let's
not the
start
other
with
people.
policy.
Yeah.
So we can draft up a policy document around this then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? I'm going to beg on it.
But please ensure it's an amnesty first.
Yes.
Because you must be seen
Yes, absolutely.
to be lenient at first. So
Absolutely.
you're calling in all illegal guns. If you give that 90-day period.
Yeah.
All guns, not illegal
No, I
guns.
have to say illegal because if the FLA and issue the guns, they're not illegal, the permits are permitted.
That's what I'm saying. But if the gun law is removed,
It's not gonna be removing the gun law overnight. Because then Mr. Man up on top of the hill will have to come in with his gun, it's not gonna happen. So the first thing you have to address is the illegal guns.
it would happen in Singapore, it's happening in China.
I hear you.
He would have to come in with it.
The difficulty with Jamaica versus Singapore is that the politicians are in the pockets of some of the people. And that is your problem. So let's start with the amnesty and all illegal weapons coming in and the reenactment of the gun court.
Chairman, I know spoken a lot,
Can
but
I
I
just-
believe that you're right, if I might ingratiate myself with you. I think you're right. I think we ought to take the position that, with the exception of proper police, because clearly they need to enforce.
I agree with you.
With the exception of police, I think we should say all guns and anyone who's found with a gun.
I'm not giving up my gun.
Now, it's a policy I'm talking about as opposed to exception. I think in the context of Jamaica, because there are going to be a lot of illegal guns, as you said, people are going to give their friends. I think we should say no, with the exception of police, no guns for anyone.
I could go
We
to
have to be
Cuba.
realistic.
I could go to
I
Cuba.
think
I could go to
Can't say
Cuba.
that.
I think
I could
certainly
go
it's
to
good to
Cuba.
aim high
Just a
with this.
minute. I could go to Cuba and call a young 18, 19-year-old young man and say to him, I don't really need this anymore. It's like Glock, gold-plated Glock. And you wouldn't see him for dust. You would not see him for dust.
What's the point,
The
Ben?
point is he will run a mile because he knows the consequences.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a 0 point.
So reenact the
I'm
gun
agreeing
law.
So I think certainly
So-
for this policy, we need to aim high and maybe ask for something really big, which is the banning of guns.
Right.
And then if we get less, then we get certainly something.
Banning of guns.
Can I just say now, brothers and sisters, can I beg you
Can I
to,
just say something before you move? We're talking about tackling violence, but we're on guns, which is two distinct and different things. Because in Jamaica, violence is a different thing. You have gun violence, you have domestic violence, you have all forms of violence. We might talk more about guns because once the gun are used, people's lives are lost.
Yes.
But there is an aggressive area of domestic violence, violence against women, violence against. So if we're to expose that, we will need to be looking at safeguarding of our children, safeguarding of single parenting. I mean, that topic is a big one. So if you're looking for policies and you're going to talk about tackling violence, we have to look at all the areas of violence that is impacting the country, and it's not just gun crime.
Yeah, I think you have to
that's a different,
you have to go for
Yeah, well,
that.
that's what I'm saying. That's a very broad topic.
no, but there are 1,500 people dead violently in Jamaica. Of the 1,500, 1,002 is with gun. You're looking at this oversized.
That's a prioritize that.
So, yeah, but one thing I want to ask you, I beg you, I'm going to say it's just going to take 5 minutes, that's what you said. Now,
We started
yeah,
talking
I
about
know.
it, I should go
So
through
I
the
know it's
list.
going to take a long, so I'm asking again, finally, because I need to get on, that's why Bev is here, that's why Dawn is here, and a number of other people. I need to get on to this thing with Marcia here. Can I ask that the rest of that thing now, we get 3 people who would go through it and deal with it? Can I beg you for that?
What do you mean?
Thank
Three? Marcy, you're going to go through the list?
No, we stop here, we got 2.
Chair, can I add education to the list? Because all of the issues there
Are
are underpinned by education, the inadequacy
Education and
of the
opportunities.
education system in terms of shaping attitudes, because the aggression that we talk about is not tackled within the education system. And there is no education focused on mediation. So it is not a very mediative situation that we're in. And so the violence is a consequence of the lack of an understanding about conflict resolution.
Cricket boy, the second most notorious gunman in Jamaica, is a high school graduate.
You're missing the point, Joe. You're missing the point. The point is the nature of the education. Because if we look at education as preparing people for the society, then it is not the level of the education that we're talking about. We're talking about the quality of the education that is designed for social change. And in Jamaica, I do not see much happening in the context of social change from an educational point of view.
How can we turn that into a policy? If you used to say,
I wouldn't. I mean,
no,
it is
it's a
so.
policy we're talking about.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but let me tell you something. We could stay here forever because I could stretch that. I could stretch that.
Into policy as well.
Yeah, I've been to the, what they call it, the Bashman. I've been to the, what they call it, the Clash. I've been to the Clash. I'm a 77-year-old man, but I need to see what's going on. And I go there with my niece. I would go just with her and see. And I've been doing this for a long time. When I lecture at you, I've seen, I forget the name then. And the boy go up on the stage with the lighter. They go Bundy farmer, Bundy roaster, farmer, Bundy farmer. And what they've done, Chester, those dancehall fellows have successfully removed witnesses from Jamaican society. If you see a rape or something and you would like to report as a witness, when you come back, you are not a witness. You are an informer.
Yes.
An informer for dead.
Now you know what you just did?
Violence.
Now what I'm talking to, all you're going to deal with education about when you have to deal in China, they couldn't go up and say thing that.
And neither in Singapore. So
No.
here's a policy that needs to happen.
Bob Marley would be put in a zoo.
How can you turn
No,
it
no,
into
no,
a
hold
policy,
that,
Chester?
because that again.
We're talking about turning the education into a policy. So what suggestions have we got in terms of education?
Exactly.
So that's what we're talking about.
Okay, we will come back to you with the education policy. But let's go back to the music policy. Because I go to Singapore quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I knew about Singapore
Yes.
is that certain genres of music is just not allowed. So what we should be saying to the government as a policy, if music is going to be derogatory or suggest violence, it is not to be allowed to be airplayed in any form or fashion.
And I think that is a clear area for a policy.
There you go. There's a
Then
policy.
can I suggest that we...
But that one is easy.
But may I
Can I
yes.
suggest this is for a group look at the issue of violence and the violence gun security. I think we need a group. Street
Culture, my sister.
No, but I agree with you, Philip, but we can look at all of them. Can I just beg you to move on to this other one, please?
So we're going to leave that.
Yeah, can we have 3 people who will take the rest of them, not leave it? Can we have 3 volunteers? Moi.
But mind you, I think we've got a list of people who are going to work on these things already. You'll want to Serena, and
Yeah, but they're not here, so we must have to do it again.
they're not here.
Well, the people that was here last week, they're not here now.
Serena, well, there's you, Serena, and because you were policy as well.
Yeah.
Who's going to develop the policy and security?
I think most of us
We need
Well,
to do this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's got to be about 2 or 3 people sitting down and put it in a draft.
Yes.
It's got to be written.
Yes, I
But we'll
agree.
decide which one. So we've agreed on the tackling violence.
No, what I'm saying is if we get people that will go over all of those,
Okay.
you know, but those people also have to be prepared to draft it because it's got to go to Jamaica before they come out.
Then I thought we'd have separated them. Those are...
Hold on, Philip. Yes,
Sorry,
Philip.
what date does it have to be there by? So how long does that?
Certainly before the end of this month.
No, that's too late.
Yeah. Well, next week. If we could do it next week, that would be fine.
Ben, can I suggest?
Of course you can.
Can I suggest that the group identifies what they consider to be, say, the top 5
Yeah,
policy
Yeah.
areas,
That's right, yeah.
and then whoever
Decide.
is writing them,
Of course,
they know
yeah.
what to focus on.
absolutely.
So let me
I
take
tried to
one
say
for
that.
you. Let me help you. Since I'm in the business and I understand all of what's going on with the laws of the returnees and the shipping costs and the agencies that are required for all of the issues that we have, multiplicity of name, multiplicity of date of birth,
Agreed.
all of those kind of things, I'll take that one. I'll write you the policy document on that.
So that would be shipping costs.
Which one?
What would that come under?
Which one?
That would tick a few boxes then.
Yeah, it's ticking 1, 2, 3 boxes. Shipping, agency, and laws of returnees.
Okay, good, excellent.
I
So
forgot
I'll take
what.
that. That's
I
in my list.
forgot what was the problem around that, but come back to you, Ted. But thank you very much.
Can I just raise up one point in terms of tackling violence? I was speaking to my mum, for example, and her father used to be a DC back in the day, and she's from Clarendon, yes, that's right, from Clarendon. And what she said, I don't know if it still happens in Jamaica, but they've got a DC, well, in them days, they had a DC in each district. Like example, you've got Clarendon, then you've got Morgan's Pass, and there was one in each one, and they would be responsible for that small area. Does that happen now?
It's there, but it's the culture has changed.
Right.
You have to understand that in Jamaica, young people have more money than the politicians.
Electric scam.
Whatever scam, and there are many scams. Lottery is just a minute one of them. But that's the one you hear much because a lot of people have been touched by it internationally. And because the foreign countries are involved in trying to catch the perpetrators, it is in our visible sight. But there's a lot of scamming. Gone are the days when politicians could control an individual. They don't have absolutely no power over no one now. What you will find is a young boy or girl finishing school, as Ben said, into high school, got their 5, 7, 8, 9 GCs, and want to go into the institution, whether it's CAST or one of the colleges. They're from a poor community. And I'm saying, some of the policies that we need to adopt in Jamaica is where we find these talents, that the business people who are operating in these communities adopt one of these people and make sure they go into the institutions for further learning, so that they can be qualified.
Similar to a scholarship
because if you
program.
sit that boy on the fence for too long, the guy with the gun and enough money is going to get him before we, and then he becomes part of the problem for the violence.
Okay, right.
Yes.
But Sister Beth, what then do you say with that suggestion when a group of young men, shatters, say to me, Father Ben, we don't really look for the work, you know, they really want to work.
Because they're already groomed, Father Ben.
Okay.
They've been ready groomed.
What they say to me, we get up 11 o'clock and we go to the road. And we stop the taxi man.
It's an industry, it's a job.
And by the time 5 o'clock come here, we earn more money because some come we have 10,000 and 5,000.
Easily.
In a month we earn more money than a teacher. In a month we earn more money than a teacher.
Yeah, but the point, and they all do now.
And that's what they do. They
all
don't
do
need
now.
a job.
Listen to what I'm saying. They all do now, but there is a generation that is coming up, which the point that Chester was making, about how do we engage their educational steps.
Yeah.
We have an educator here. How do we take that child, train up a child in the way they should go? That's the target we have to be looking at. The guy who has really been seasoned into cashing in 500,000 US and dig a big hole in their bed and come back to the mattress and go sleep on the ground. You can't change it. Remember, don't tell Almighty will help you.
Absolutely.
That is what I'm going to tell you. And he's rich.
Yes.
He hits a car every day, crashes it,
Yeah.
doesn't have any insurance, walk off and go to the next car park and buy a new one. He is wealthy.
Sister Beverly, someone used to tell him along the line, she was speaking, that yes, for a short time you may be rich, but you're quite likely going to end up in your grave.
No, but they know. They tell you, me not live for long, you know.
Yeah,
You
they
know
know,
that.
they tell you, they
You
know.
what you going to talk to them about? They tell me, no, so me not live
It's the
long.
younger ones in it.
It's the younger ones,
Yeah, it's the young people.
They're afraid of grave.
I think it's the young people we should be looking at policies.
Yeah,
Because like you said, the older
But
ones.
may I say again, I am begging you, may I move on because we
You
need...
can.
Okay, thank you.
So have we got these 4 or 5 policies that we're working on?
What I've got here, Ricky, I've got 2. The creation of an executive agency, the gun licensing,
Yeah.
and
What else? 2 or 3 more maybe?
can I just ask that we come back to it, please? Please.
Well, do you think we should just get the
No,
list so
let
they
me
can
just,
go away with
let
it?
me just, I really need to get some people here on board. On the day, and in preparation for the day, there was actionable activity that I'm asked from Jamaica to put in place. I'm so sorry that we didn't get any more copy. We brought it last week, but I'll just read it out to you. Transportation. We need to pick them up at New Street Station. The people in London are going for the London session meeting. They're going to collect them at the airport, take them to their hotel, take them to the High Commission, take them to Parliament, and so on and so forth. Up here, ours is a lot less problematic. We're going to collect them at New Street, take them to Legacy Centre, take them from Legacy Centre at about 3 o'clock to the council house to meet the mayor and leader of the council, come back, and then collect them about 5 o'clock to take them to New Street. So the transportation. Gareth is not here, he was here last week, and I spoke to him, and he said he's trying to come
So
and
Ben,
see.
7 o'clock to take them to New Street, he said 5.
You're going to find out what time is the last train.
Yeah, because we're looking for trains between 7:30 to go back to London.
Isn't it Garnet, not Gareth. Garnet, you know Garnet?
Garnet Campbell.
Yeah, who runs the transportation. So let's hope that Garnet doesn't let us down. But he says he has appropriate minibus. But we have a problem in that we don't know how many is coming. One time we know there's about 10.
I can tell you.
Okay, thank you. Ben. We know there's about 10. So transportation, we're looking at Garnet.
Yeah.
What kind of a coach system does he have? Or van system?
Coach will carry people to seaside and things like that.
No, but is it one of them VIP ones? You know, like some of them are quite posh, you know?
We need VIP ones.
Yeah, you do need a VIP one.
This is why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
No, we don't know. We said that we don't know.
He told me that, I said to him, Garnet,
Have
is
you
it?
seen it? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
We need to see it.
Yeah.
We need to see it. Yeah.
Unless he's got different levels of coach.
We need to
coaches.
see Garnet's coach. We've had personal experiences.
That's why I'm
with
saying
Garnet.
it. Thank
Hold
you.
on, hold on.
The coach that we were I wasn't personally in there, thank God. The coach broke down in the bar, wasn't able to navigate.
No, we need
down
a
the
VIP
streets.
coach.
And I was saying, has he got something more modern that we need to look at?
We need to see it.
Is there a budget or is it you looking for a donation?
Well, at the moment, Serena, we're looking for donation. Can I ask Jennifer
Yeah,
to
sorry.
take over?
Take over.
Yeah, the chair.
Okay. Are you okay?
Okay, can you just put 1, 2, 3 so you see how many people are coming? So the leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, he's coming with a delegation. So Julian Robinson, Mikhail Phillips, Senator Peter Bunting, Senator Gabriella Morris, Aluna Samba, Shakoma Robinson, Sergeant Mark Anderson for security, Delia Walker Huntington, who's the co-chair of the IDAC in Florida, and 3 possible persons from London to accompany.
How many is that? How many is that? Is that
I was
10?
asking you guys to write
No, I'm sorry.
That's about 10, that is about 10.
Yeah, just give me a moment.
That is about 10, yes.
I've got it. Just let me in.
That is about 10.
So, you know, back to the coach situation. I mean, does anybody know Garnet in terms of his business? Has he got quite a few coaches, or is it just one coach?
We used Garnet years and years ago, and when we went to this other event about just before the COVID, I said, Garnet still a function, and then the coach that came was a very old coach.
Yeah, we
need a
VIP.
we're hosting these delegates, and we do need to represent. We're not sure what level in London they're going to go to, but we need to replicate something quite similar, yeah.
And we need a plan B.
Was he going to put up
We don't need a plan B if we go to a professional entity to get a proper VIP coach. Simple, because they have.
Okay, that's 16 to 10
We
plus.
always want to keep.
So
So you're not rushing?
Does
If we
anybody,
say we need a VIP, it's an operational matter, isn't it?
just in case that the coach is not suitable, does anybody know any other organized
We
black
can check,
organisations?
that's easy to check.
Yeah, that's right. I just reached to the coach part then.
I think you have to think about funds as well.
That's what I was thinking, how's that going?
Who's going to fund this VIP coach?
So we're ruling out Garnet?
Well,
No, we're saying we need to see it.
All right.
The coach is putting on, we need to inspect it. Yes,
Right.
We need to speak to Garnet to find out what.
If I remember rightly, it's quite old-fashioned, isn't it? Garnet coaches.
But it might have a this, I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't know what's possible.
When they come, they got.
How many persons did we get?
So it's 9 delegates and then 3 plus 3 from London.
Yeah.
So it's 12.
Persons coming.
So 12.
12.
May I just say something? When they come, they're going to be needing somebody. I hate the word chaperone. Give me a better word.
Have we finished on the two?
Well, let's,
No,
let's,
it's tied. Sorry, Dawn. It's tied to it.
Okay.
Escorts.
Escort.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be.
They picked me, which is why they sent this.
Sorry.
oh, that's good. So
But
it's
the-
Beverly.
They picked me already.
I think both those are
I've
better
just
than-
come to this meeting to observe, so I think they've already picked.
That's
Keep
good.
going.
It's okay.
Yeah. So what we're saying is that they've asked you, Beverly, to
To be
Come and sit in
the
the
escort.
to.
The Birmingham
To be here.
escort.
To be here.
No, I know.
Okay.
But did they ask you to? Or,
No, they haven't asked me specifically.
But would you mind doing it, Beverly?
I don't mind, I know them all.
That'd be great, that'd be great. That's a good, wonderful. Can I formally suggest that?
Now
Beverly,
then, if
you
that
are-
is the case, would you be prepared to work with Garnet for me about the coach?
Yeah, you can give me his number,
Right.
because I'd love to do an
And would you be
inspection.
prepared also if Garnet is not suitable? Could
To
you?
find a suitable
Yes.
transport, not a problem.
All right. Good.
But also,
You
I think we
can't
can ask them
hire
support
any
for
bus.
that.
I will hire you, you're sitting here.
Let's look at the
Hire
straws.
a bus and make you be the driver, you're an expert in
hire?
that.
Budget.
Budget?
That's what I'm
We don't have any. We don't. At the present, we don't have one red cent. We're going by faith.
I did ask if there's a budget, but nobody has responded. yet.
No, there's none. So we're looking for sponsors.
Oh, Jesus.
So that would be for the coach and for the covering the costs, the whole thing, and the driver.
Yeah, with the coach, the driver then, the minibus or whatever.
Yeah.
They need sponsorship for venue, are we paying for the venues?
Yes, it's £900 for the
Can we
venue.
start a budget then?
Beg your pardon?
Can we make up a budget?
Yeah, what's the total?
Have we got the money for that already?
No,
No, we need to know what we need.
I think we're going to work, as Franklin said to her, I think we're going to.
Can I just say that we can look at that, but just letting you know, there's £900 for the hall, and I'm making phone calls begging people. So,
Is it been booked
Alright.
on that day?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, can somebody just jot down costing?
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
important.
Some of the
Venue.
that's the one.
We need audiovisual, we need transportation, we need refreshments. These are things that need to be costed.
Yeah.
Definitely, we've made an initial assessment of those things already.
no, we have not, Philip. We have not.
You can give somebody else to say something. As quick as my mind.
What Beverly is saying is,
Ben, I heard what Beverly said, she's just sitting beside me, they were saying that roughly, of course, £900 for
The venue.
we can't do it now.
Ben, no, it will take me 1 minute if you don't interrupt me. Then there is about roughly 1,200 for food, and there's odds and ends. We roughly said about £3,000.
Right.
3,000.
Three
Cover
grand.
everything.
It's good to have a figure, isn't it?
Huh? It's about £3,000 will cover everything.
Isn't Cypher donating the building really?
Hmm?
Is Cypher not donating the
No, it's
building
not.
that day?
£900.
So when did we know they were coming? When did we know they were coming to the UK?
We knew from about,
She just donated the
we knew from about April, May, and I went away for 6 weeks and everything just lie down there.
Yeah, because it's a bit of a last minute, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so, okay, so, does that answer your question, Bev?
I don't think 3,000 is sufficient, but what I could say to you is one of the means of getting some of this support is to allow businesses to be able to sponsor the cost and at the same time promote their businesses at the event.
That's the event there.
I haven't seen anything, I was just going to visit this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's one way of offsetting some of the costs.
Right.
Do you think that, Jenny, that Fame could get involved in that way?
Well, I'll have to look, because
Yeah.
obviously you know that it's a charity.
So,
But
we need,
there's a cost for the promotion. I know a lot of us think that social media works, but really social media only works 10% of your marketing and promotion activity. So what else are we going to be doing to effectively promote this? And is it just extended to Birmingham, or are we extending it to the diaspora further afield? Manchester, Leeds, Nottingham, how do we get that to them? Who are the contact people?
yeah, I'm coming to that, Bev.
Okay.
Right. But the question you asked about securing the sponsorship for the £3,000 and so on, so by chance, is there anyone here who think they would like to take on that responsibility?
The £3,000?
Yeah, to raise 3,000, contact, as Bev said, business people and things like that.
I think we just all, because of the short time, I think we just all have to see what we can do. That's all.
It needs to be defined.
I know.
It really needs to have an assigned person that we all can go to. The persons need to be assigned the responsibility.
I think that we should really push businesses to sponsor as Beverly, is it Beverly?
Beverly.
Sorry, yeah, just there. So for example, Top Taste over there, they should be donating food, even if it's just for the delegates that are coming, not necessarily for people who are visiting the event. Do you know what I mean? So that they are catered for, so that way it cuts down the cost in terms of feeding too many heads. So if they donated the food and then they were on the flyers, that makes more sense. And also, Cypher, he should be donating the venue. I think it's really bad that he's making us pay for the venue.
I don't think,
down that route, though.
Serena,
$900 is the least, though, too.
No, I'm not saying that it's...
If we're expecting persons from the wider Midlands, I don't think the Legacy Centre is the right venue.
Okay.
I don't think it will house, and the leader is expecting to meet as much of the diaspora members as far and as wide as possible here in Birmingham. So we need to be talking to people who are in the diaspora task force, like Kevin in Nottingham, whoever is in Bristol, down the road down there, to tell them that the minister is coming, and we're expecting them to put coaches on to come and have a conversation about the policies that we would like to see. Because the opposition is always, regardless of which political party, the opposition is always the voice of the people. They have the platform in which to speak on our behalf.
Right. Philip, can I just want to move on because...
This is vitally important what is happening.
Yes, I know.
But it's not peripheral, it's absolutely important because I think there's cross purposes here. When we've been discussing this before, Beverly, we were, and this the position we were taking, we were definitely talking about a limited number of people. Ben, this becomes quite important that what we decided last week, that it was 3 sessions, and the third bit would be a reception at the Legacy or the councils, whatever you. And we were definitely, so we came up with a budget of £3,000 ends year. And we definitely thought, we talked about a maximum for 120 people. And now, what Beverly is suggesting, what the leader in Jamaica is suggesting, I think there's some cross purposes. I think we should clear this up. Because we were talking about something much more limited, something more restricted. They're talking about, it seems from what you're saying, Beverly, you seem to have some kind of connection with them. They want a mass turnout as big as possible. And that's completely different from what we were talking about.
And also it's a time scale.
They want a public meeting.
No, not a public meeting. They want a large meeting.
Not a public meeting. Anyway, can I just say, at the end of the day, when I'll come to that, Philip, I promise you, Benny. Yes,
Can
Serena.
I suggest something to cut down the cost as well, especially when it comes to like food and stuff? Maybe it could be like a market style. So, you know, you could invite a few food businesses to sell food there. However, we get them to put food aside, you know, plates aside for the delegates. Maybe that's something that we could do.
Also, there's a restaurant.
Just a minute.
There's a
That makes it a
restaurant.
bit more pleasant.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Marcia.
Can I just say, when I spoke to Legacy this week, they shared that they'd be launching a new cafe at the Legacy, and excuse me. And what my thoughts were is because I did ask, I said, you know, if you're having the cafe there, would we be able, if people wanted to sell cakes and that sort of nice snacks, they weren't objective to that.
Can I just say something? We're going into food.
Sorry?
Was it cider you spoke to?
No. I spoke to the event manager.
No, you need to speak to cider.
No. What I'm telling you, when I spoke to her, she told me that there is going to be a cafe opening on the 12th of September.
Right.
That will be serving food at Legacy. So if we wanted to, we could allow people to go and buy their food. So that
from the cafe,
that puts out the cost to us, and
Right.
we just cater for the delegates.
Right, can I, before I didn't want to go into food, I want to just talk about some of the, I know how we drifted into it because it's like cutting down the cost, I know that. But in terms of, I ask the question again, we've got £3,000 to find and we've got to, have we got anybody here that feel that they would like to take on the task of doing a search to identify X number of
But
persons?
this £3,000 is only connected to a limited number of people, 120 people.
Philip,
We talk about.
all right,
when
fine.
we talk about a large number of people, and we're going to rethink the budget.
I think it's going to be more than three.
All right, guys, I just sent a message to the
Can-
organisers just to ask them exactly what's the size grouping that they're expecting, and if they're targeting members of the diaspora or members of the diaspora and businesses.
Well,
I'll do it then.
Can I, look, you've got to really, I've got an agenda here, and you've got to really, those questions will be answered if we go down the agenda.
No, well, she's got some information. That she
Yes, I know, I've heard her. But what I'm saying is, you're going to talk now about size of crowd, and so that will be answered,
Okay.
right? So all I'm saying is, we have a situation here where estimation was given, and that estimation that we need for the present arrangement about £3,000. Is there anyone that would like to consider taking on that task of securing some sponsors and fundraisers for that amount of money?
And Serena as a
I will.
Thank you very much, Serena.
Serena, speak to me afterwards, yeah?
Okay.
Tell you what
Right.
to do.
Number, the next thing, Philip,
Sorry?
Rupert, the next thing we want to look at is Marcia is arranging, people are coming to Marcia and they were wanting stalls.
Yes, I've
Right.
started to.
Can I ask who would take on responsibility for helping, working with Marcia to these stall holders and people to get them arranged at the site on the day?
In regards to the stores, that's already in hand because
That's in hand.
That's in hand.
Good.
And Legacy will be sorting out the position of
How much are the stallholders paying?
Oh, I was just about to say.
£30, but they'll be at the venue all day. So they'll be able to, because when I initially advertised it, it was going to be an evening event and they were happy for that. So I've since gone back to say, look, they're going to be there all day. If you wish to set up all day and promote your business, you have that option. There is also a show.
You can get 40?
Maybe I could have, but at the time, people were telling me keep it low.
Okay.
What I've also done is we're creating a show guide, and some of the stallholders have agreed that the show guide prices starts from £20 for a quarter page of an A5. So some of them have also paid for a show, an advertising space. So that there will be a program that will be available on the day, that will be handed out, that will promote businesses and such. So that's going to be another way that we're going to look to try to generate income by having the show guide and having businesses advertise in that.
How soon do you wish to have information as to who the advertisers in that?
Yeah, really by the second, third week at the very, very latest, because I need to get it printed. So we're trying to get people to send in whatever they want to send in. We spoke to the tour Dahlia, so she's going to put something together from the tour team, so we can have that in there. And one of the things I was going to say tonight is if there were anyone here that wanted to advertise in the show guide or knew of anyone to just get in touch so that we can start. We still need to start moving forward.
Right. Okay. Is there a limit to the number of stores?
What's that? What's that?
Is there a limit to the number of stores available in the venue?
Yes, there are 10 at a push. And at the moment we've got the auditorium that will be set up in banqueting suite as a banqueting style. But given what I've heard, in terms of more numbers, we may need to not have banqueting style and have it theatre style. If it's so it's about that. So right. That can be it.
Yeah.
My mum just called back and said she's going to ask my uncle to, because he's got a coach company.
He's got a what?
A coach company. So I asked her to ask him to donate the coach out of being honoured and driving around the delegates. So she's going to get back to me on that.
I love you, Serena. Thank you very much.
We all love Serena.
Yeah. Can I just thank you very much? That is what we call action. Step forward. Now, the stall then, you're going to be the person.
So yes, I've already got that on the
Marcia will be dealing with the stall.
But if people know of others who may want to have stores, please.
Media,
to get in touch.
Media, interviews and publicity.
Yes.
Okay, Ricky. Let me just interject here. What they have said to us, and they are not compromising on this. They want description of what you're going to put in the media, because they have a central nerve system that they separate. So the flyers, for example, they're waiting on us to send the details to go on the flyer. Anybody here has ever done flyer?
Yeah.
Is that a trick question?
I'm waiting for the punchline.
Be kind, Beverly. Anybody has ever done flyer? Who that?
We've got people here who do flyers. Ben, I think more important than the specific thing about the flyer is what they're saying about what to see. What kinds of them are we going to say other than what they're saying on this thing here, something like that they're visiting? And we'd like
No, that's to save the day. The flyer, we have about 6 different organizations. Prison Link and so on, JCA.
I can get a flyer done for you, Ben. And to make it look really, I can actually do a flyer, but to make it look really cool.
They're not going to do they are going to do the flyer.
That's what I thought
So they want the
Wait,
information.
They want us to send the details of what must go in the flyer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah? So, things like the collab. What is the name of the tour?
I thought that was already decided.
No, they have decided
What?
on the name of the tour.
They've already decided.
Yes, they have.
What?
Thank you for agreeing to join that is Diaspora tour. To be promised to intention. Well, the purpose of the tour is to celebrate Jamaicans, that which you believe in Jamaican legacy, celebrate Jamaica, impact, stress the
Aren't we being treated like a bunch of children?
Yeah.
No, we're not.
No,
This is
That's what you're saying, but I'm putting it on the term.
No. I've heard that argument before. This is the way organizations work these days. They have a kind of, what they call it? Branding. They're
Yes.
looking at branding.
They're very specific about the branding. It
You
must
see?
not be
And
branded
then-
as a PMP tour, but
Right.
an opposition tour.
And I've seen
That reads
somebody
out
wrote
Jamaican
and put out
all
something
those
there about the
times.
PNP tour. And Wooly Petty and I had to write back to the person and correct it.
It would be nice if they told us what they would prefer to be called.
Yeah.
No, they have.
Ben, Ben, I
It's a
Ben, I thought all of these, forgive me, all of these things we'd agreed, and it does strike me a little bit, Sister, a little bit, that what's going on here is I thought you were leading in terms of organising this visit to London. And obviously in conjunction with them, what I'm picking up now for the first time is that to a large extent, the people who are coming want to be very much in control to allow, I take the point about...
No, we are leading...
Oh, no, please let me finish, Ben. Forgive me. The impression I'm getting now is that, yes, they want people locally to do certain things, but essentially they want this to be something that they're kind of controlling. And I think we've got, for example, what Sister Beverly just, what Sister Beverly just said, we were planning on one basis, 120 people, a reception with limited numbers. We've just tonight heard from Sister Beverly that they have an idea as to what we should be doing. So I think we're going to get this one very clear as to who is doing what. It's important, Ben, because from what every time...
that's what we are doing tonight.
What is coming up to me, with respect, Ben, is that every time we sit down and discuss this matter, we hear from you that our comrades in Jamaica, our colleagues in Jamaica, this is what they want, this is all they want to do, in some sense as if it's something
we're working in collaboration with them, Philip. You know? So what I'm saying is, the leaflet, the flyer, for example, has to say, and this is why I need to consult with you all, the flyer has to say that, if you like, the Jamaican Diaspora, West-Midlands, in collaboration with community organization, Sickly Nourish, JCA, and so on.
When a children, we can say that. We don't need to send it to Jamaica. We can say that, for God's sake. The idea that someone...
Philip, but the flyer, it needs to go on the flyer.
Yeah, Ben, I think...
Doesn't matter, Philip, you're looking for Duppy, Ben,
I think Phil has a point to a certain extent. Maybe if they want this element of control, they should contribute financially as well.
Yes.
They're paying for the hotels, they're paying for their slave fare, they're paying for the sunset. Now,
but I'm talking about things that are happening here, that maybe they should contribute to some of the
I don't think so.
costs.
To be fair, I think it's
the
quite
people in America, Jamaicans here in America, take on the responsibility and
because we're doing this for them, but they're not giving much.
People in America...
Did we invite them over?
No, they invite themselves, and they're telling us this is what they want to do.
I don't think we should be pouring cold water on this thing here. All they're saying is, the flyer, they will do the flyer.
That's what we would expect to do, a blasted flyer ourselves. We don't want someone Jamaica to do a flyer.
So basically, they just want the contents, what's going to be on the flyer.
Yeah,
No, I was just going to say, if they're going to London and they're coming here, we also, in terms of branding, need to make sure that
so that makes sense, yes, so keep the one
London as well.
creator.
How are we describing them? We need to have that discussion with London and with Jamaica. You know,
yes.
it must look like one
yes,
thing.
Beth,
So you stick
for one person creating.
All right, can I just
ask one question?
Yes, Beth.
And I'm asking it to Philip.
Yeah, of course.
Where did we get the number 120 people from?
What we
It was from us.
In discussion,
we were looking at the town hall.
That's the kind of manageable number.
We were looking at the council house, and we know that the council chamber holds about 120 people. So those are some of the figure come. But it doesn't matter if 120 people go. I spoke to a group in Wales, and they said they're coming up with a coach load. I thought it was an oh my gosh moment. But what's the problem with that?
Well, the problem with that, Ben, is that you've got to understand that it's important to know how to prepare for a certain amount of people.
Right.
Because we don't want loads of people to turn up and then there's not space for them. That's why one of the things that you were doing was that, what was it?
I was just collecting data on how many people I'm bringing, so therefore when everybody, what we calculate, say for example, Janet's bringing some
Right.
Marcus
Can
brings
I-
100 people or 30 people, then we can kind of get an
They're
idea
waiting on the
as to
flyer.
how many people will come
Right.
in.
They're waiting on the flyer.
Okay.
Mrs. Braithwaite, could you and I deal with the flyer? Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to?
Ben, I think we have to make a decision whether or not we're talking about a more restricted event or a big. I'm not against it, a big public event, but you know, just to, I really mean, we've got to make a decision about this. And if what Sister Neville is showing me is that they really are talking about the biggest possible meeting, then I'm quite happy with that. But we've got to make a decision that that's what we're going to do and plan accordingly.
I think that we should deliver what we can manage.
That's
That's what we should do.
Yes, the purpose of the tour is to celebrate Jamaica's Diamond Jubilee with Jamaicans overseas.
Yeah.
It cannot be 120 people. To celebrate Jamaicans overseas and their unwavering commitment to Jamaica, to celebrate Jamaicans and their impact in the diaspora. Stress that a strong opposition is an integral element of a constitutional structure for democracy. It cannot be 120 people. That's all I'm saying. If I'm going with the language, it's certainly cannot be 120 people.
Can you and I work on getting the details for going into the flyer?
Yes.
And
I have one question though. Will our current venue accommodate?
yes, it will.
Yes.
Will it accommodate hundreds if that's what it
Yeah.
is?
What's the capacity of the?
Yeah.
The room that we've booked,
Yeah.
the £900.
I think with that, their aspiration is great, but I think we have to deliver what we can, our capacity, what we can manage. It's just a short space of time.
Right.
Because it's not
Once the
it's only 3 weeks away.
Thank you, Phil. Once the flyer is done, that's when we will be contacting. I'll be sending it to other diaspora people and things like that.
How many diasporas? Is there 5 diasporas across the country? Because
with JDUK, there's 6 regions.
there's 6 regions. So if we were to get a coach from each region, that is potentially, but would they all come to Birmingham?
I don't think there's going to be a coach from each region.
Or some might go to London, so those nearer to
No,
London.
none of them now go to London. As far as I know, that people will become Acna Centre in Nottingham. You know Acna Centre? They're coming from Nottingham. People from Nottingham, from Wales.
As far as I know, it's not good, you know. We need to know who's coming. We need to have a general figure.
Yeah,
and we need to have a system where we can put in place where people are booking free tickets.
Can
Can
I ask anybody here that might be able to answer Ricky and Philip's request?
Ben, it seems to me what we should do, in terms of what Ricky's saying, and in terms of Sister Beverly has been telling us, we should come up with a number now. Obviously, we said 120. Beverly is rightly saying 120 is probably not good enough. Let's come up with a number which we think is
Come up with it then.
I would say 250.
Well,
What do you think about that?
Well, I had 20 people signed up on my tickets when
I would say
my
250.
ticket line open, and it was.
That would be good if we could get 250, because I was worried that we
So
won't
if
even
you
get
want to
120.
If you
Sorry,
want to set up I'm just saying, if you want to set up another one, and I guess I can work with Janet to liaise with the Jamaican government to say what should be on the link, etc., like the information, the flyer, the branding, etc. I don't mind setting up another link.
That would be good.
So that we can.
We know who's coming.
Yeah, so that we can have at least an idea of who's coming. I've had events where I've had like 100 people coming, like 80 people have came. But at the end of the day, I knew what my venue was going to be like prior to the event, and I knew who was coming. So it makes sense.
So if you set that up, because
Yeah, I went with Janet. Janet was saying.
Sister Beverly, you didn't tell us what you think about the number of 250. We came up with 120 million. What do you think about 250?
What is there to think about it?
No.
What's she going to do about it?
No judgment as to whether or not this would be acceptable to our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. They think
It doesn't matter to them.
Happening, if you want me to be honest.
It doesn't matter, Brother Philip.
can I?
You know the people coming from Nottingham?
Can I just ask
you mentioned how many they're coming?
Well, I spoke to Delroy. Delroy said he's going to try and get that 2-car road.
Oh, 2-car road. Okay, not a van or
A question. In
Well, we
terms
might have Rolls Royces.
Go ahead.
That would be nice.
a
Hold on.
question. In terms of the layout and the presentation that we want to present, do we want it, because for 250 we could seat people in banquet style. If you wanted more, it means it has to be theatre style. Now, how do we want the day to be presented? Now, theatre style is okay for the smaller meetings, for the strategy group and the public group, but when we're having the evening celebratory, okay, the evening, no, but the thing is, I need to know so that we have an idea as what layout, because once we know what layout we're having, because I suppose to be honest, we just need that layout to
Can we come to that later on? Can we come to that about a few days time?
A few days time? No, because if we're going to put Eventbrite
I would say,
out,
I would
you prefer
yeah.
yourself, which one do you
well,
think is suitable?
the question that I'm trying to ask is what presentation do we want?
I would say theatre style.
To respond to that question, I just realised that there's 3 separate meetings at there really.
Yes, there
so
is.
Through the day, the people that will come in the evening might not be necessarily the people that come in the morning. So, you know, through the day you might get 500, but they won't be there all the same time. Does that make sense?
That's
so
right.
the Eventbrite probably needs to be specifically for the different events as well.
Yes, so we know who's coming for each
Sorry, I
event.
didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, the Eventbrite might need to be targeting, for instance, who's going to come in for the evening celebration? Who's going to come for the morning's function?
Yeah, could do that. You can create 3 different links.
So we know, you know.
Yeah,
I'm finishing now, just 5 minutes time.
And we just have
We need
the room set up.
We need
because we won't have people to keep changing the layout of the room. So.
we need in terms of the food, we're considering 2 persons. Liz here. I don't know how much Liz charged. And I got a call from another guy, Ken. That's very good food. But he was saying £10 per head. We said, wait. So,
Ben, I think our problem was solved. What we were thinking of initially when we were talking about 120 and all of that is that we would pay and provide the food. I think what we're going to do now, we're talking to a large number of people. I think we should be suggesting that Liz and Ken or whatever, that they sell the food that people buy. I think that will solve our problem.
right. So, just a minute. Let me just answer. So what you
response?
We got a suggestion on the floor that the food, we don't provide the food, we sell it.
We only provide for our guests.
That's right.
Can I suggest that we invite some of the younger people who have businesses, food businesses, because they have their own little following as well. So that might be a way of engaging, like,
Wait a minute, you cannot say yes and no, what you mean? What does it, tell me how that going work?
So,
they're going to bring their style?
they can bring their store and they have customers. So, for example, a friend of mine, Karen, she's got a food shop in 6 Ways. And, you know, she will then promote it and tell people that they're coming. 6 Ways is right next to Legacy as well. So for me, that's just like a way of advertising as well and raising awareness that the event actually
also,
happens.
there's a restaurant next door to Legacy.
We don't want that. We decide.
Okay, this is what I would like to see.
We will decide that there's not going to be any point at a restaurant next door.
No, the reason why I says that because it's next door.
And
it's a Caribbean restaurant, and then we could negotiate costings because it's just there. That's all.
So what we have agreed at the moment is that we only provide food for the guests.
Yes. And
everyone else buys their own food.
But yeah.
Can I just make a suggestion, and I will take that budget for myself, is that I would like to approach, if you don't mind, the restaurant next door, Adians, to provide the meals and refreshment for the delegation.
Yes.
And then JLB Shipping will sponsor that. And my reason for saying that is that, God forbid, we decide to use persons whose preparation will not be permitted at Legacy because Legacy operates a restaurant and then you get food come in a box or yellow box, and so I will take on, you can jot that as
So
confirmed,
they'll go to agents
that we somebody here in the planning team speak with ADN, confirm the availability, and JLB Shipping will sponsor the meals for the delegates.
I'll speak to ADN.
Please.
Can I?
Because I don't want any food poisoning, and I don't want people.
Hold on, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course you can. Marcia?
Okay. What I'm trying to say, what I was trying to get your attention is to say that the cafe that is opening is run by Aidan. So in terms of even bringing food in, we probably wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So as I'm liaising with the venue, let me, if what you're just suggesting, Beverly, yes, then that's fine. But with young people coming in, what Legacy weren't concerned
No, we
about.
couldn't. They won't.
No, can I finish, please?
Sorry.
Obviously, they're going to have their food hygiene and such like. So if they're selling things like cakes and those little snacks, then that's fine. Legacy's fine with that.
But not food.
But not food.
I know they're not, that's why I made the point.
So in terms of Aidan is the people who was opening the cafe next week.
Okay.
So we can have that conversation, and then we can find out what.
And also tell them I need a little booth in their restaurant at the side, so people can sit back, relax. The aesthetics is professional, and that is a good.
Oh, so are we suggesting? Let me get this right now. Because there's two things. Aidan's is upstairs.
Yeah, I'm walking upstairs.
And they're going to have the cafeteria in the Legacy. So in terms of the delegates, they're going upstairs. That's what you're suggesting.
That's my suggestion.
What about downstairs, that outside room? That's what I was thinking where they would
It's
go.
like a VIP room where they...
Is there a VIP room that we want ADN to set up for them? That's fine too.
We can carry it, yeah.
If that's
I-
fine,
When you say
that's
Aidan's
fine.
upstairs, it's a separate building, isn't it?
No, right on the same property.
Yeah, that's just
But
next.
upstairs,
Yeah.
proper aesthetics, look beautiful,
Yes, yes.
professionally presented.
Okay.
Food warmers, people can see that they're not getting cold food being
I'm
rewarmed.
coming to you, my brother. Jennifer, would you like to? Kimberly, I'm sorry, Kimberly. I'll come back to you. I'll come back. Philip.
But it seems to me a lot more problem to solve if the Legacy can provide food and people can buy food. That's
Thank you
okay.
very
But,
much.
I agree. And it sounds like it's spoken. But what I want to say though is, I asked the people we're thinking of. Liz here has got the very highest of hygiene standards anyway, and she has got over 40 years of doing catering, external catering. She worked and provided meals for schools. So I've got to say that her standards, I'm not saying we should have Liz, not at all. I'm saying it seems to be practical that if they've got food there, that's the most sensible thing to do, and it's solving that problem.
Right.
But I must say, the facilities which we've got, I don't know about Ken, but I can speak about Liz. She's extraordinarily professional. She's got many years of catering for large numbers of people, so that's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
But I think if they're providing catering, that's a great idea.
Is it possible that you could help us out with, are you free, Zadi, just to give us some support here? We're gonna suggest on Liz, we got ADN, and we got a good offer about ADN. That's finalized, isn't it?
No, can I just ask a question? Didn't we say that Legacy doesn't allow outside caterers to come in?
No, that's not true.
No, that's not
That's
true.
not true.
So Liz can go in there and cater.
Things may have changed, but from the horse's mouth himself, I can assure you that I've been assured by Cypher, things may have changed because of this CAF, that we can take our own catering. Things may have changed because of what you're saying, and I'm thinking practically, and there's an issue practically, what kind of food are they going to provide? Have they got the capacity at the moment to provide the kind of food we expect
so right.
for goat and rice?
Now,
Can they do that?
No.
There are food companies.
Can I?
I'm asking.
Agent's quite
Will it?
professional with his
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't know. But the point I want to say is we've got two offers on the table. Bev wants to contact ADN to provide the means for the guests. That will be so. That's done and dusted. The rest of the people coming to this arena, the rest of the people, they're going to buy.
But will Adrian have the capacity?
We're not saying Adrian.
No, I'm saying, well, if they're there, we might as well use them. Have they got the capacity to provide the kind of food we want?
That's something we want to
That is, Philip, that is what I'm trying to get at. Maybe it's done and dusted that he'll provide for the guests.
Absolutely.
We have Liz to proposal to use Liz. Okay,
no, I wouldn't propose we use Liz. I'm saying that if Adrian is there, we use them. But all I'm asking, have they got the capacity to do it? That's all I'm asking. Have they got this?
Can
we just need to make I don't know the schedule.
Can you do that as well while you're talking to Adrian?
Well, Marcy, I don't know who's. Are we going to have you speak to?
I will speak to her.
All right.
And
So
will
Marcy
they be available on the Saturday 8 to do it? All of these.
Marcy is going to.
Good, excellent.
Can I just ask a
Yes.
question, Marcia?
Sorry, before it comes out the door. Sorry.
I was going to ask about entertainment.
I'm coming to that, my darling.
I wanted to know, is the venue being kept in the main hall downstairs?
Yes, it is.
Right. We have kept several events in Legacy, funerals. Downstairs is a good layout, you've got the stage. When you come into the venue, where they set up the food,
Yes.
just as you come up the stairs, before you get down into the main area, they will spread a table here
That's right.
and here, limited, and there's a few chairs here. It's very congested.
It is.
And it's noisy and interferes with.
This is why I said I'm taking them
what's
upstairs.
place.
That's exactly why I said.
Whatever's going to be taking place down there, when the people are up here having the food, you can't hear what's being said. And we've had to say to people, quiet, many a time from down on that floor there.
We would have a specific lunch
We're coming in
time.
a filter.
So if you're having the food up in the main foyer area there, it's not going to work.
No, but we would have a specific lunch time where nothing else is happening.
Yeah, that's just a lunch break.
It has to be a
I
lunch.
mean, for the delegates, they're going to be at Adrian's, they're going to be away from that. But I know what you're saying.
It's very congested there.
Oh yes, when you serve the food in the foyer.
Yes.
No, that can't
Somebody's
work.
speaking, and you
You're
can
right.
hear the noise, yeah.
I've seen food served, they go down into the thing.
Yes.
And
We're going to have a lunch break.
Yeah, we're going to have a lunch break. So that we can
It's going to be a lunch break.
the final.
Can I just do one thing? And it's totally, just totally over everybody's head because it shouldn't come in here. It probably is best on the AOB. Nehemiah Housing offers social housing for the elderly. I think it's a model that is needed in Jamaica. I think they can be one of the sponsors. I think it would be ideal to include a visit to one of the Nehemiah Housing property with the leader in a break session. And I'm sure almost that money you're looking for could be possible if I go and beg. But it won't happen unless we're taking the minister on a tour.
Yeah.
It just came in my mind. So it's not agreed, it's not discussed. I'm just throwing it out there because of
Contact.
Thank you, Beverly. Is there anyone who here that might want to take? Would you take that? Check?
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay, Beverly will check that out.
You have to contact them and make
Because I said, Beverly, there's two things that, and I just want to finish. They're very interested in meeting members of the business community.
That is correct. So that's why I said
Right? So, can I ask Beverly then if she will arrange? Do you know, what do you think, Beverly, about 6 or 7 business people?
I just chose one. You going so far? Yeah, time?
No, I'm just saying you're in the business world. What about you, Chevron? You.
I'm going to ask, I haven't given you any confirmation. I'll come back to you by tomorrow, the latest one,
All
for
right.
confirmation. But I think it's an ideal move. It's a very good political move.
So the business, he wants to meet, so I think a gathering of about 6 or 7 business people.
Yes, they always like to have a table sitting with business people just to get a sense. So
That's right.
somewhere in the session, you really need that.
Okay.
A caucus with some existing
Could that be the
businesses.
Would that be the
And nurses over there should be there, education.
See, that's where Cypher
Well-
comes in, and that's why Cypher should be just dominating the building, not calling
Yeah,
it.
come on, guys. God, we can't go back into that.
Can I say something?
No, you can't.
No, just
No, Philip, please. Let me
No,
know.
ignore me, I'm just having a finish.
The final point is this: we need. They suggested, and I'm sorry, Philip, but I'm just going by what They suggested it would be nice to have a celebratory type event with entertainment. Now, may I ask, is there anyone here who knows about putting on a, we've tried to contact this woman Sandra Golden, but I think she would need.
Serena's a performer.
Just to say that October is Black History Month.
Yeah.
So it would be an ideal opportunity to do something.
Yeah, we should have some local singers,
We do know
poetry, probably a little play.
We have to approach
some
people
children.
we
Is it
know.
going to be children now? What's the age group?
I don't envisage not putting it there.
I didn't know children.
We know you don't like children.
I know young adults, but I'm not
What
sure.
I will,
So
what
it
I,
needs to be an age group living thing.
what I would say is, a little entertainment lasted about 3/4 of an hour, no more
Is
than
it
that.
more?
Yeah.
So we can get
But it can be split
We
up anyway.
identify
have to
what
finish
type of
that, sir.
entertainment
That's
first.
It can be split
we can
up.
get some poetry, some
That's what I'm saying, what
singing,
type of
some
entertainment?
You know, some local talent.
Yeah.
Poetry. Sing. No, I'm joking.
45 minutes is not very long.
We've got a great local poet, so we want that already.
Daddy,
I've got direct contact with Sandra Golden. Sandra puts on a very good cultural dance.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
very
sing.
Very
I've got
good.
contact with Claire Angel, who sings extremely
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
She attended the event down at Aston Park.
There's
the
loads
other
of
day,
singers
and
in
Wales
there.
was in Aston Park.
Yeah, that's,
Aston Park, and there were a couple of other
What
artists.
about the one, is it Bubbaras? The one that comes to yours, the one that does the drink? Is it, what's his name?
Rasnigo.
Rasnikas.
He
Can-
provides the
We don't-
juices.
We need to have a combination.
we need to have a
Singer,
combination. We
poetry,
don't just
yes,
want.
yeah.
So
We don't
maybe
do-
Janet
we
and
don't
I can
just-
speak with you about organising that side of things.
Sandra would do the dance.
Include, yeah,
We could get an
Sandra-
artist
I can
that
speak to
sings.
Leanne Aaron for the poetry.
some
Claire,
poetry.
and
Yeah.
Claire
The
Angel.
Divine
somebody-
Poet, he's a great.
Claire Angel sings a very good, the Jamaican,
She's
Yeah.
very cultural in her singing, yeah.
the Jamaican emblem.
So she
Can I make a
she
recommendation
will be the singer.
that you give that assignment, go to Zara
Yes.
For the listeners
to sort out.
Chester Morrison,
Yes.
let them two coordinate that.
Sort out the entertainment.
And can I suggest Mrs. Stevenson, the saxophone player? She is
Yes.
Yeah, she's
very
excellent,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so can we
And
get
you
these,
know-
Yes.
they have to
Yeah,
say yes,
agreed.
and it was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Is it in the
I'm just,
budget?
I'm just
Agreed.
thinking about, yes, thank you,
That's
Jessica
it,
and
that's it.
Jennifer, because a lot of those names I'm hearing, I know they doing nothing
So
less than
that's what I'm saying.
than a certain amount, and we don't have a budget. So we
Do you
need
think so?
to think of some of those names that
Yeah,
you
some of
mentioned,
them-
I know them
Yeah,
well,
we've had
and
experience.
we've had experience
And
with
they've asked for
them.
meals and
And there's some of
expenses,
them
at least an expense to get to the venue.
I'll phone,
you know.
yeah.
Serena, you get them for free, but
I'll vote,
otherwise you
yeah.
pay them.
If you, when it's not
Nice
as
if
clear,
it's free.
it's,
Negus, whoever, I'll just tell them off. Just
Similar-
donate the services for the day. Let's please
Yeah, I
do
can
that.
see
Sandra.
Rasnigo.
It's an
It's
honour.
If you
yeah,
can get it for
if
free.
they, because if they, and then what we could do,
May
we could promote
We're
them.
going to promote them
in the
anyway.
Yeah,
village.
yeah.
Do we leave it
You
to
have
the
to
two
give
people?
back.
yes, may I just, order.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Maybe if there was something in writing coming from the Jamaican Diaspora,
Yeah.
inviting these
yes.
ones, and
Maybe they can do that.
Yeah,
To be part of.
if you invite somebody and they say, I can draft a letter, yeah? Can I just say in terms of entertainment, I don't do entertainment. And the reason is, I get bored. Chester is a poet, and I've heard it.
In the house.
But poetry leaves me with a pain in the rear.
Depends how long it is. I understand where you're coming from.
That's an individual taste.
Yeah.
Ben, we've got a great
Some
guy
people do write
called,
poetry.
Yeah.
we've got a
Once
great
it's
guy
got too
called
long.
Divine Poets, the Wandering Dragon. They're fantastic people. You would be bored, Ben, I promise you.
I'm
Time.
not caring if Ben is bored, does it tell about Ben? What is that?
But it's good to have
Everybody else in this
poetry.
room likes poetry.
Somebody from the house. Yeah.
Time.
Have you ever heard Louis Bennett recite poetry? You check him, and I know you have.
Time is time.
We don't have no time.
Time is the nth degree of wherever we are traveling. Time has come and time has gone. And I sit there and I think, is he taking the...
See you later.
Chair, I'm gonna go.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a contact list for ones that
Have you got my contact number?
Yeah.
Are you in the group?
Yes. Yes, she is. She is. Yeah.
Do you need any?
She...
What's your name, sorry?
Dawn Brathwaite.
Dawn Brathwaite.
Yeah.
Dawn is highly recommended, like
Yeah.
Dawn, for like
Beverly. They come highly recommended from Jamaica, saying talk to these people. So Dawn and so right. Any other business? Couple of things.
Sure, but who is the group who can look at those things and come up with policy? We got to
Yes, good point.
Let's now. Okay, so should we? What you're saying, Philip, is that we should appoint the person.
Well, it seems we need.
Some of them are already here.
What time is it now?
It's summertime, 23 minutes to 10.
What?
to 10.
So it's tonight.
25 minutes to 9.
Well, we're supposed to finish at 8:30.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of the groups here, Serena's there, you're there,
Yeah.
3, 2, you, Ben, 3, and you, Phil, 4. That's it. All we need is 4.
All right, 4 people.
That's it. Well,
So
To meet again.
we will meet.
you have to meet, yeah.
Can you organize this Zoom meeting?
I can, but Zoom's playing up, you know. I can do it on Teams. Yeah, anyway, meeting.
A Zoom meeting.
Yeah. So Serena's there.
Thank you, Dawn.
So who's on, what's the name?
Serena, Phil, you, and
To
Ben.
discuss some of the policies.
That's it. There's 4 of you.
And who? Marcia?
It's Marshall's one.
No, no.
And Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly. That's it then.
Okay, fine.
And who, Kimberly?
Kimberly, yeah.
And who? You?
No.
So there's 3 of us. And who else, you said?
That's it. That's
All
all you
3
need.
of us.
You only need
Okay.
a small working group there.
All right.
Because this is supposed to be the working group.
There was an ask by a lady in Nottingham under any other business, and is a crisis affecting a family in Jamaica. So I told her I'd bring it. The place was right in our house, and it's a crisis. And what is interesting is that this is this woman and her daughter, but the daughter has gone through enormous to graduate from Shortwood Teachers College and has got her qualification, looking for work. But Food for the Poor is trying to get them a house, is going to get them a house, but they would like some help to buy some furniture, and they're looking for about £300. So she asked me if I could mention it. Didn't need
Was
to.
it in Jamaica or England?
They're in Jamaica.
Maybe if we could then probably go through Sickly Nourished and you could coordinate that. Is that possible?
It is possible.
When is Food for the Poor getting the house for her?
I think almost immediately, you know.
So the £300 is for?
Furniture.
What kind of furniture will go buy for
Like-
£300?
Well,
I'm a realist, you know. So what I'm saying is, a member of us here, including myself, in my shipping facility, I might be able to come up with some furnishings that could be shipped as charitable goods for that entity, which would be valued more than £300.
Yeah, that's correct.
Are you sure, Ben,
Well,
you
if
don't want
it- if it is
£200 and not
something that-
necessarily?
no, I'm not sure, Philip.
If it is something that is,
What's it now?
if it is something that is, if it is something that is needed immediately, that immediacy cannot be shorter than 8 weeks.
Thank
because
you,
that's the
Beverly.
time it's gonna
That-
take.
That Beverly is a that's what the American call a resource person.
Yeah.
Now,
Ben, you've got the list. Could you probably, because this is not the telephone, could you probably take the responsibility of getting in touch with us, you put the list, you put a name and say, can you please donate what you can to this?
From this list.
From this,
Yes,
from the
deliver it to JLB and we'll ship it for free.
Okay.
Well, no, I was thinking about furniture.
Oh,
I was thinking about money. I was
No,
thinking
no, but they won't finish it.
well, no, they may say this, but usually people
Well, if you check it at face value, Phil. Jay, let's do that. Let's give the furniture to you, and you should be.
So that £300 is $51,000.
I know,
I'm not sure if
I
they got it right.
Let's not read into it. They want furniture, let's give them furniture.
And I'm sure Ben got it right. Gentlemen, I have to go.
Yeah, we all have to be as well.
Shall I come and speak to you for a sec?
Ben, I think the meeting's going to close and you, is the meeting finished?
Yes,
It's wrapping down.
it's finished.
Good, thank you. I need to go. No, I need to go. My wife is collecting.
So Ben, is this meeting again next Thursday? Or?
I don't think we're meeting again next Thursday.
So what about the planning team? The planning team we're going to meet weekly up until. So if we've got Serena and Vanity that's going to look at the entertainment and come back to us, we can then put the programme together, but we need to plan the day, what the day will look like.
Are you meeting by Zoom or?
I'm happy to come here or if you've got a Zoom account, you will my people play now just be so
because the planning's going to be critical, you know.
There's
only 3 weeks left. Three out of 3.
And I think, and this is why I've got the person in the center, so we can just get things ready. So if we can check with Serena and Sanity, and then we can just be
The
policy. It's you, Serena,
any other line,
this lady here.
and we have been able to get signed. Any other month, we have been able to get signed.
Phil.
New Star Radio are now recruiting. Are you a radio personality who wants to be on the radio? Whether you're a talk show presenter, DJ, news, sports, weather reporter, or a social media vlogger, we are also looking for technical engineers and persons with digital marketing experience. New Star Radio is now looking for new recruits to volunteer for spots on our radio platform. We will provide you free technical training to help you develop your skills. Come and join our diverse multicultural team and serve our communities. Here is how to apply. Please record and upload a 3-minute video of your performance and DM it to our New Star Radio Live Instagram page. For more info, please email us at newstarradiolive@gmail.com or call us on 07584 197 380.
Visit newstarradio.com.